Columbus, Ohio. As Election Day approaches, anti-abortion groups trying to build opposition to a reproductive rights measure in Ohio are pushing heavy messaging about an abortion procedure term once used later in pregnancy but not yet used. The opposition campaign and top Republicans are increasingly citing partial birth abortion in ads, debates and public statements as an imminent threat if voters approve the constitutional amendment. On November 7, partial birth abortion is a non-medical abortion, the term for a currently federally banned procedure known as dilation and extraction, or DX. This would allow partial birth abortions. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine recently told reporters as he announced his opposition to the constitutional amendment known as Issue 1. For many years, there has been a law Ohio and in this country that says partial birth abortion is illegal. Ohio. The governor continued. This constitutional amendment will override that. Constitutional experts say that's not true and that the amendment would not override the current federal ban if Ohio voters approve it. So changing our constitution would not in slightest affect the enforceability of federal partial birth abortion ban, said Dan Kobil, a law professor at Capital University in Columbus who supports abortion rights. It would be a federal crime for a physician to violate this prohibition. That's because the U.S. Constitution's supremacy clause requires federal laws to trump state laws, said Jonathan Entin, a law professor emeritus at Case Western State University. If federal law prohibits a particular technique, then that will prevail over a state law that may be inconsistent, he said. This November, Ohio will be the only state where voters will decide whether abortion is legal. But the debate does not happen in isolation. The state has been used as a campaign testing ground by anti-abortion groups following a series of defeats since U.S. Supreme Court struck down the constitutional right to procedure. Next year, abortion rights supporters plan to put question before voters in more states and ensure the issue remains central in races up and down ballot. A DX procedure involved dilating woman's cervix, then withdrawing fetus from cervix with feet first on neck. The head was then pierced and skull evacuated and compressed to allow the fetus to pass through dilated cervix. Before the federal ban, it was used for both abortions and miscarriages in the second and third trimesters of pregnancy. DeWine was serving in the U.S. Senate when the Partial Birth Abortion Ban Act was passed in 2003. He voted for ban, declaring the moral, medical and ethical consensus that procedure was horrible and inhumane. President George W. Bush signed the measure into law, with DeWine at his side. The ban was largely suspended while a constitutional challenge occurred. The U.S. Supreme Court rejected arguments against the law in 2007 and upheld its application in all 50 states. Ask W.H.